Okie doke, we're getting ready to put everything back on now. So I've cleaned up the rocker box, ready to go. Everything ready to go back on. No obvious signs. I suppose that's the sort of main thing I was a bit worried about. No obvious signs of a leak from the gasket, but you know, I can't think where else it's coming from. I thought maybe it's coming, from the holes at the back, but I'm sure it's not. I was thinking maybe it's coming from the other, maybe this from this rocker box and running down between the fins, but I don't think it is. So anyway, we've cleaned this one up, got it all ready, no problems. I've got new O-rings for the top of the pushrod tubes. I'm leaving the O-rings, the original O-rings, are staying there in the engine because they're very difficult to replace. So I'm just going to put well seal on the bottoms where the onto the oil seals, and I will use well seal on all the mating faces before putting it on, put it all back together. I've marked the tops of the pushrod tubes, so I'm going to get them back. I'm going to take these labels off, then I know which one goes where and which way up, as I think I said before. On a T160 they can go up either way. Importantly, we've got these three little alloy crush washers, and they go in here and they help to seal where the Allen screws go through. So I've fished the old ones out. I think there's a photo coming now, hopefully. That's of the old washers after I oiled them out, and those are the new washers that will go in, and we'll put well seal in as well, because they can leak down through those holes, especially because oil is sitting there all the time, because of course the exhaust rocker on a T160 is always leaning that way, so the oil is always up against this edge, which is why I thought it might be leaking from the inspection cover, because the tappet's always leaning that way, whereas of course on the inlet it's always, the oil's always away from the cover, so not so prone to leak. Got new gaskets as well, well sealed. Now, one problem I've come upon is I cannot find the original rocker cover. I don't know. That's the inlet rocker cover. What I know that the original rocker cover, when I took it off, for some reason I can't remember, I did not put it in my normal box of spares. I don't know why, what happened, I can't remember, but I know it's in some weird place. And I know that about 2 years ago I came across it. Thought, oh yeah, that's right, that rocker cover. And then for, again, reasons I don't understand, I didn't pick it up and bring it and put it in the box with all the other stuff. And I cannot remember where it is. I know that somewhere in the house, wrapped up, is that rocker box cover. I can't find it. I've looked everywhere, I can't find it. So I'm going to put this billet cover back on, because I don't know how long it'll ever take me to find that cover. But when I do find the original cover, it's a fairly easy job just to swap them over. Thing to note is that on the originals they are handed, so there is an inlet cover and an exhaust cover. They are not the same. Okay, they can't be swapped round. Whereas this billet cover is universal, so that'll go on either the inlet or the exhaust. Okay, I think that's about it. So yeah, and it's all cleaned up everything's cleaned up here. Everything looks okay. So I've just given everything a good clean and that, and so we'll get everything back together. I'll put some well seal on, let it go off a bit, and then we'll start reassembly. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pushrod tubes back in. They've already got, I've put the new seals on the top, and we're reusing the existing seals down the bottom. Got well seal on everything, so I'm just popping those into place. Okay, that's good. Then I'm going to get the push rods. So then what I'm doing is I'm putting a bit of grease on the bottom of each push rod on the cup, so that when that goes on the tappet at the bottom of the push rod tube, then it will stick, and hopefully it won't jump out, which is the worst thing that can happen to us. This is the push rod decides to come off its tappet at the bottom of the bottom there, which can happen as we put things back together. So I've got my marked push rods for the other side. I'm putting a bit of grease on now, and these are marked so I know which one's which, but also which one goes where rather, but also I know when I put the head on, when I put the rocker box cover on, I know which one is which, because they can cross over, you know, at the top, and then you're not quite sure which push rod is which, and then you end up, if you're not careful, putting the wrong push rod on the wrong rocker. So I always mark them, so I'm 100% sure that I got the right push rod on the right rocker. So next up we've got the gasket, which may serve to hold those push rods in place. Push rod tubes. Yeah. Perhaps I should have put the gasket on before the push rod tube. That's better. Yeah, I should have put the gasket on before the push rod tube. You forget these things, you know. You forget these things. I'm going to double check with the torch now I've messed about a bit, that the push rods are still definitely in place, because you really don't want those to not be mounted properly, which did happen to me once when I very first built this engine. It wasn't properly located and jumped off. Now what I don't do is I don't put grease in the top cups, because if the rocker comes out of the push rod, then I can put it back on. But what happens is if I grease the top of the push rod, then sometimes the push rod will lift off with the rocker. You know, the rod will come off, and it will come off at the bottom, and then it won't go back on at the bottom. So I want it to stay on at the bottom, and if in the process of putting it back together, one of these push rods comes off the rocker, then I know it's staying stuck to the bottom, and I can just put it on at the top.